Hello friends, today is our first day doing embroidered hair. This week we're going to be doing 3 different types, one today, one tomorrow, and one Wednesday. Today is going to be braids using 3 strands of color variations. 4140, but the kit also comes with a 4090. DMC also has a lot of different types of color variations for red, different blondes, different browns, so definitely go check out that. Definitely don't hesitate to also just use regular embroidery floss, and I'm going to show you how you can take this and make it kind of look like color variations. I also will be using my little extra bit of etoile, that way I can add a little bit of shine to my braid that I kind of did there. Since we're doing 3 different types of hair this week, we definitely don't want to be doing all 3 different types on our finished piece. On the second and third hair types, we will be stitching over the tapestry wool. We don't want to be practicing over that because some of this tapestry wool may fray or come undone. I suggest practicing all of them on a different piece of fabric, and that way you can practice, get good at it, and then the one that you decide to use, you then can do on your final piece later. You know what they say, practice makes perfect, so let's get to practicing. What we'll be doing for the braids, we're not going to be stitching all the way across. What we're going to do is we're going to divide 2 different spaces here to cover with thread. Kind of draw an example here. So I darken the area here and darken the area here to show how we would have the thread come out from underneath the hat. With this, there's not going to be a way to secure this thread before we braid it. Braiding it is what attaches it to the fabric. Definitely be aware of that when you're stitching so you don't pull the thread through on accident. We're going to split our thread into 3 strands. We want to measure out how long we want the thread. If we're wanting our braid to be this long, we're going to want to double up on that. When you braid, it's going to make the thread shorter, and we can always cut any extra later. Then you take your thread and you're going to come down here and you're going to double that up. Then what you can do is you can just measure out a bunch of lengths here. So then you take your 3 strands down into the fabric, and then you will come up right next to it, creating hair. And then you just repeat that process until your line looks like it would be completely filled with a satin stitch. You want to be able to lay your thread down and not see any spaces in between across this little line here. Then to add a little bit of extra shine to your piece, I'm also using a little bit of my leftover etoile from the hat. I'm using 2 strands of that instead of the 3, just to kind of give it a little bit of shine. You've attached enough thread to kind of look like it's covering that entire line, no spaces in between it. Then what you do is you're going to be braiding your thread. When I'm sectioning off my hair to do the braid, I like to take my fingers and hold this together so that way none of this thread gets pulled through. Separate into 3 even sections. Then I will braid them together over the middle and then left over the middle. Now, once you get to the length that you're wanting, take thread. And I chose the thread that I did here for the pants and the hat for the ribbons at the end of the braids. Took 3 strands of 161 and I laid it down underneath the braid. And I just tied a knot. Then I wrap the thread around here, wrap the thread around here. Just tie a few little knots to really secure the braid. Do one more. And I clip. Now it's time to trim. Now when we're trimming our braids, we don't want to cut straight across. We want to kind of like angle it as we go to match the other braid as best as you can, and just kind of Then you can pull those apart to kind of make it look more like hair. If you're wanting a more flat, loose braid, you can take your thread and you can kind of pull those apart. There you go. You've got yourself 2 braids. Now, if you don't have color variations floss, but you want to get the same kind of look, what you can do is you can combine a bunch of different threads together, just regular 6-strand embroidery floss. And then what you would do is, instead of doing 3 strands of this and 3 strands of this, you could do 2 strands of the dark brown and 1 strand of the pink, and vice versa. Throw in as many colors as you want, like that different multi-toned thread to it. So if you don't have color variations, don't fret, don't get too worried about it. You can pretty much use just one type of thread to get you that braid if you are unsure about being able to add any other of the other colors in there. And that's it, folks. Our first hair on our pattern. Tomorrow we're going to be doing curls along the back with the Raya stitch, and I'll be using 4090 for that to kind of give you some blonde curls for that. But definitely, like I said, practice before you make it permanent on your piece, so that way you know exactly what you're wanting to do for that. That's it, guys. If you haven't gotten your thread, gotten your supplies, head on over to DMC. You can still get yourself some using my code GULAXDMC at checkout for 15% off your purchase. But yeah, thanks again for tuning in, guys, and I will see you bright and early tomorrow.